Hello and welcome back to A Brit in Poland. This is another family edition. In this episode, we will speak to Mum,
Hello.
who's had her first trip to Warsaw, and you'll also see my brother talk a little bit about Warsaw as well. He was with us for the beginning of the trip. We're currently in Krakow now, but we're going to focus on Warsaw for this video. So, Mum, overall, from our trip, what were your main impressions about the city itself?
I thought it seemed very empty. There wasn't nearly as much traffic as I thought there would be. And it was very clean. And I love the architecture. There was a good mixture of old and new. And obviously a lot of it was reconstruction after the war. But they kept the styles beautifully. And there were some really stunning modern buildings.
Yeah, I mean, most people might find it odd to say that it was quiet and that there wasn't much traffic. But if you think about sticking to the main areas of the city, there isn't really. The traffic is more concentrated around the outskirts, I think.
It
Yeah.
gets quite busy at rush hour times. But apart from that, it seemed quite quiet.
Yes.
Because you've got so much public transport, it reduces the need for cars, I suppose.
Yes, the public transport was exceptional on this trip. We were able to do everything pretty much with bus or tram. Um, we only used a taxi a couple of times when we were going for some like extremes, but most of the time, yeah, we were able to keep it pretty reasonable. Okay, so let's do a quick recap through what we got up to on the trip. So on Saturday, you had a very early flight.
We did indeed. I had to leave home at 2:30 in the morning.
Yes. And so when you got to Warsaw, you were quite tired. Um,
Perhaps I should explain. It's very complicated getting to Warsaw for us because we live north of Newcastle. So you can't get from Newcastle Airport to Warsaw. And because Peter only had a short time, we decided to come via Leeds. So we had to drive down to Leeds Airport to get to Warsaw.
exactly. Yeah. So that was about 2 hours drive to get to Leeds.
Yeah.
And yeah. Yeah. So still waiting on a proper Newcastle to Warsaw route.
It would be nice.
It would make a big difference. So we kept it a very quiet day, and we basically just walked to Old Town. So tell me about your impressions of Old Town.
It's what it says on the book, really. I know it's not really old, but they've reconstructed a lot of what was old. There were some very nice souvenir shops and things. We had a gentle wander around. I liked it very much.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't go to this museum on that day, but we went to the Museum of the History of Warsaw.
Yes.
I swear we missed a section in there. But what did you think of that? That was quite quirky in terms of the statistics it came up with in the beginning.
It was a very unusual museum because they had a whole area that was just sort of black and white and statistics and rather dry, I thought, in some ways, although they were interesting statistics. And then quite separately, you had all sorts of objects that had been found in Warsaw.
Yeah, I'd say it felt kind of scientific
Yeah.
in a way. And then, of course, we went to the Royal Castle.
Yes.
So, what were your impressions?
That was special.
Mm.
Yes, I mean, there's some wonderful furniture and things there. I felt a bit hindered because my knowledge of Polish history is not what it might be. So I couldn't really um, think about the characters and things who'd lived there. I'd like to know more about them because there weren't very many labels in English, I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, there were labels in each room, but it's a good point because there were a number of kings who lived there, and there were a number of like featured rooms. It featured paintings from people like Jan Matejko. Um, so yeah, knowing a bit more of the context of Polish history does help with that place. But I just love some of the rooms themselves,
There's
especially
a lot of gold leaf.
yeah, I love
Very grand.
my favorite room. I think is the first one with the black marble. It just has a very
Is that the throne room?
no. It was the black marble room. I don't know. For me, it just stands out for the character. Okay, yeah, and then we took a little bit of a walk towards Nova Świat, and then you got tired basically, and
Well, you did make me walk to, what was it, 2,200 steps one? No, 22,000 steps one day.
Yeah, but not on the first day.
Oh, right, all right.
But yeah. Sorry, I made Mum walk a lot. Um, yeah, and then in the evening we just we ended up going to Arcadia for some food,
I
and
had pierogi
yes, yeah, we went to that pierogi place. It was very nice, actually.
because I cause lots of problems because I can't eat dairy and I can't eat meat.
Yes,
Not easy to find the right food.
you had some challenges for sure.
Mm.
I mean, there are plenty of vegan places, but it's just about finding them. They're often a bit out of the way, somewhat. Never mind. Okay, so that was Saturday, and then Sunday we went to the National Museum. So, what did you think of that?
That again was stunning. There was practically everything I think had an English label, which obviously helped a lot.
Mm.
And they had a lot of medieval stuff. I know Peter wasn't quite so keen on the medieval stuff, but I thought it was beautiful.
I thought you liked the Egypt stuff.
Oh, I did. I did. Of course, I always love Egyptian stuff. It was interesting because comparing it to the British Museum, it was obvious that you haven't had the collectors that we had in England who were bringing back stuff from the Grand Tour and things like that, because some rooms were very, very restricted. I think there was one tiny bit of stone from Assyria, whereas if you went to the British Museum, you would have corridors full of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very varied. Like, well, I people keep saying it has so much in that museum, but if you think about it, it has statues and paintings, and it's hard to really say it has anything else. No, of course it does, but that's what it feels like. It is like a statues and paintings museum.
There were some smaller artifacts, I think, in the Egyptian gallery.
Oh yeah, I know, I'm joking. And what did you think of like when we got to the giant Jan Matejko painting, the Battle of Grunwald?
I must admit, I'm not that keen on enormous historical paintings very much. But yes, I mean, Peter and I were looking at it quite hard, and we saw some bits we thought might perhaps be the artist putting his face in, and there were some curious characters in it. But it's very hard to. I mean, it can't have been accurate because it was portraying something that was hundreds of years before, wasn't it?
No, yes, true, but it was impressive. Okay, so after that we went to the Palace of Science and Culture.
That's where we went up the tower, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yep. And got lovely views of Warsaw.
Yes.
So that was good.
Yeah, finally had good weather for that. What did you think about the palace itself?
Did we see a lot of the palace? I only remember the tower, really.
I mean, yeah, I mean it's kind of weird because most of the interior you can't see of the palace, and everything else is like bolted on. Well, not bolted on, but like separate sections around the outside. Because you have like the theatre, you have a couple of museums bolted on, but we just went to the viewing tower. But what do you think of like the exterior? Because it's quite a formidable.
It's, as you say, it's formidable. Excuse me. Yes, it certainly stands out. It must be one of the larger buildings in Warsaw, I think.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's you can see it for miles, and it's a controversial structure because of course it was Soviet and
right. Yes, that I can understand.
Yeah, I personally, some people say we should destroy it because it's a symbol of Soviets. Some people say we should keep it because it's a symbol that Poland beat the Soviets in the end.
It's part of your history. I think it's important to reflect different things that were happening in Poland's life.
Exactly. Yeah, and then afterwards we went to the Saxon Gardens.
Oh, that was lovely. Wasn't that where we saw the red squirrels?
No, Saxon Gardens. It was the one where it was quite small, but yeah, a lot of the statues.
Ah, sorry. Yes, we went to so many different gardens and parks. I got a bit confused.
Yeah, and then you had the eternal flame and the big square.
Of course. Yep.
Okay.
I'm with you.
So no big impressions on that. Okay, and then we tried to go to the library garden, but it was a bit too late in the day, so that was closed. Ended up by the river, having a drink, and yeah. So I know you didn't really see the river properly. Like we didn't sort of walk by the river in the end. I think there wasn't really time, and it was.
We drove past it, so I could see quite a lot. I could see some of those rather stunning bridges and things.
Yes. I mean, the river, I think, is my favourite place in Warsaw, but it's really a summer place. You know, you go there, you have a drink on the steps, or enjoy a barbecue by the
That
beach.
sounds lovely. Is there
Yeah,
actually sand on the beach? So it really
yeah,
looks like
yeah, yeah,
beaches.
yeah. I don't know if you could actually build a sandcastle, but there is
You
sand.
need rather special sand for a sandcastle.
Yes, true. Yeah, and after that, we ended up just back in Arcadia again for dinner. We went to an Asian place this time. I think everyone was quite happy except for P, who may or may not have had minor food poisoning from undercooked spring rolls. I'm not sure on that one. Okay, so then
And
that,
it's very nice to meet your friend Agatha too, who I've
yes,
met in the past.
indeed. Okay, so that was Sunday. Monday was the last day we had with P. So we started by going to the National Stadium and the Lego exhibition.
Oh, that was something else. You wouldn't think that Lego would make fantastic exhibitions, but it really does. Yes, it was well worth going to.
It was actually. I was impressed. Like because we went to that Lego exhibition at thing in Prague a
Yes,
few
we
years
did.
ago. We've obviously been to like Legoland, Legoland Windsor, but no, this was actually I was surprised, and I didn't realize there would be so many Polish focused models. I thought it would be more generic.
I think that was rather good, actually. I suspect that perhaps it's a touring exhibition and they do special things for each place that they're going to.
It must, yeah. Like they even had one about like the Soviet era, and they had tanks in the streets, and like yeah, all the people queuing for food, and
That's right, they did.
that was impressive. Actually, it was like wow, they put that in there. Yeah, and of course they had a big model of the stadium itself. They had dragons, dinosaurs, Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
But no
Um,
Transformers.
no, no Transformers. I was very, very disappointed. Um, not much in the way of robotics, but maybe next time.
It was a shame maybe that there weren't more things that moved. You could press buttons in different places, but often that just gave you a noise. And
Hmm.
one or two of the things that should have moved, like a great big Ferris wheel, didn't. I think they weren't very good on maintaining it as it went along.
maybe, but it was still
But
pretty
it was well
impressive.
worth
Yeah,
it.
it was the biggest one in Europe, so impressive. After that, we went to Skaraszewski Park.
That was when we saw the red squirrels.
Yes, yes, you saw your red
It was
squirrels.
real magic.
Yeah, it was a bit tricky because it was out of season, so it was very quiet, and a lot of the water features didn't work. So we had a kind of calm walk through that
But
park.
perhaps I should explain how special the red squirrels are.
Okay.
Because although we do get them in England, and in fact we get them near me, I've never actually seen one in England. So it was brilliant. We saw about 20, I suppose, by the time we counted them all
Oh
more.
god, I think it must have been.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a lovely park.
great
Um,
delight.
yeah, and then we ended up in I think it's Francuska Street. For we ended up getting a pizza. That was very nice. I had this like um, what was it, pistachio pizza.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, yeah, it was lovely actually. And you actually found a vegan pizza.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think everyone.
Now, they don't seem to discover that you can actually get vegan cheese in these places.
Yeah,
I think there's only one place I've seen vegan cheese on the menu.
maybe there are health concerns. Um, but yeah, so after that, time was running out because P had to leave. So we ended up going to Łazienki. We got a taxi to go to there. We're waiting a bit of a while for that taxi, but never mind. So what did you think of Łazienki Park?
I enjoyed that one as well. Yes, I like the parks. It's nice to have green space in the middle of a city. Very important, I think.
Yes.
Have nature around. We saw some nice wildflowers and things as well. And it's interesting how your flowers are just maybe 2 or 3 weeks behind ours in England.
Mm. I think we had a very harsh winter,
Yeah,
which probably
much harsher than ours, I think.
froze the ground a bit. And yeah, we only got rid of snow, I think, by like mid-March almost. It
Oh,
felt.
golly. We only had it for a few days here and there.
Yeah. So yeah, Łazienki's beautiful. It's yeah, we didn't spend. We probably spent a couple of hours there in total, or maybe a little less. But it was nice to see the peacocks. They were showing
Oh,
off
they were amazing, weren't they? Yes.
by
No,
the
no shed
amphitheatre.
feathers. Perhaps it's the wrong time of year. I do love using peacock feathers and crafts.
And more squirrels we saw
Yes,
as well. I do think there were more squirrels in Łazienki actually.
there might have been. Well, I was thinking of altogether in the
Yeah,
parks that we were at. Yeah.
yeah, and then yeah, Peter got a taxi to the airport, rushed off. So that was the end of that. And then where did we go for dinner that night? I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember.
Did we just eat in the hotel?
Oh, we might have done. Yes, yes.
I know we ate in the hotel on one of the nights.
We did.
Yeah, and then the next day was kind of a museum-focused day. So we started off with the Doll's House Museum.
Oh, that was magic. One of the things that fascinated me was that I was given some American dolls in the 1950s by a great aunt, and I never knew anything about them. I looked them up on the internet and found nothing. And there on the wall was one of them, little bridegroom doll. The bride that went with him wasn't quite the same as mine. In fact, he wasn't identical, but they were obviously the same genre, and they were made in Chicago, which is where she lives, and I know a lot more about them. And there are lots of lovely dolls' houses, which is my passion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an impressive museum actually.
I was really glad to get to see that.
Yeah, no, they've put a lot of work into that, and they're pretty decent collection. Mostly German, but like.
Yes, because the Germans did make an awful lot of the dolls' houses. They didn't go back very far. I don't think there's anything that went back before the 19th century, whereas the history of dolls' houses goes back to the 17th century.
Yeah, they'll have to take some from England at some point.
But again, I expect an awful lot was destroyed during the war.
Oh, of course.
The collections here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I'm not sure that Poland was ever. I've never seen early Polish dolls' houses. The early ones, I think, were mostly English and German.
Yeah, because there is a lot of model making that goes on in Poland, but it feels quite modern, really. Yeah, I'll do another video about that.
There is now. I've seen in the Dolls' House magazine various Polish makers.
Yeah, and then after that we had the semi-disastrous trip to the Ethnographic Museum.
Yes. There was interesting material in the Ethnographic Museum, but the stuff we got to see, the Polish stuff, most of it, apart from one gallery, was closed, wasn't it?
Yeah, because there was that temporary exhibit about the Lemko people.
Yes, that was interesting.
That was interesting, yeah, and it ties into an upcoming video actually, so that's a nice bonus. But yeah, like they didn't warn us that it was under like renovation, so the whole.
Well, perhaps it's a good thing they didn't, because we might not have gone there if we'd known.
Yeah, or they could have given us a reduced entry, but never mind. But yeah. So we saw like the the African and Asian stuff, and
there was a gallery of sort of folk collections of mostly tools and things, wasn't there?
Yeah.
But none of the costumes and things that I'd hoped we might see.
Yeah, exactly. The main heart of it. Well, hopefully by the time we come back, there'll be more. And then we did have designs on going to like the Uprising Museum or the Poland Museum, but they were closed on that day, which was unusual. I don't know why they were closed on a Tuesday. I think every museum maybe has a slightly different calendar because most things are closed on a Monday. So that's when we went to the Old Town Museum, and that we talked about that already. And then the next day was kind of our last day walking around Warsaw. So we went to Łazienki Park, which was nice. Yeah, we tried to go in the library.
That was closed too.
That was closed too.
That's been the story of this holiday, hasn't it? Things being closed.
God, yeah. Continued in Krakow.
So we've seen a lot.
Yes. But, no squirrels in this park, but we saw some nice birds and sat by the pond, and it was quite relaxing.
Yes.
I think we needed a relaxing day because there was a lot of walking on the previous day. And then we went into Praga. So we went around Connoisseur. So what were your impressions of the Connoisseur district? So that was the factory district with the red brick buildings.
It didn't look nearly as neat and tidy as the middle of Warsaw. And it wasn't quite as clean, but it was very nice actually. But I did love the area around the vodka factory.
That's what I'm talking about specifically now.
Sorry, okay. Sorry, misunderstand. I was thinking about where we saw all the murals.
Yeah, no, fair.
Yeah. No, it was lovely around that square. They got some nice, smart little shops and lots of little restaurants and things.
Mm.
But very nice indeed.
Yes, yes. It's kind of like a little island amongst the chaos. Uh, yeah,
I see what you mean.
yeah. Because
Yes.
I mean, the thing with Praga is it's like more original there because it wasn't destroyed so much during the war,
Yeah.
so it didn't have to be rebuilt. So it kind of feels a bit run down in places compared to like the main area of Warsaw
Yeah.
because, well, it's been untouched for like over 100 years, and there are still bullet holes in the walls, and yeah. But
I think it's good they've left that sort of thing. And it's
yeah,
part of the history, isn't it?
yeah. I think it's one of those areas that bit by bit they're restoring it or repurposing it, gentrifying it, kind of. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting, and we saw a few of the murals there. There are
Yes.
many murals in Praga, which is what defines it.
It wasn't quite as good as when we went to Wrocław, though, because then they've got mostly around a central courtyard, aren't they?
Yeah,
And
well,
bits around. And so they were close together, whereas they're very widely scattered and some in not very good condition.
yes, yes, some of them were falling apart. Yeah, because in Wrocław we had the Nadoja district. Check out the Wrocław edition to talk about that. And then we went to the Vodka Museum itself.
Yep.
And that was good. It's my second time there, and I'm glad I went back actually. Because the first time I had the audio guide, this time we actually had the guide.
And
Uh,
he's a member of the family, which is rather nice too. He was the grandson, I think, of maybe the person who started it. He kept talking about his grandfather.
I think his grandfather made alcohol, which is probably a quite common story
Okay.
in Poland. But yeah, no, it was very modern. I thought like the exhibits, the interactivity, a lot of kind of virtual displays. So it was pretty sophisticated.
It wasn't quite what I expected because I associate Polish vodka with flavoured vodkas and I love them. But this was straight vodka. And when it came to trying it, I wasn't quite sure if I was going to like drinking straight vodka. But in fact, I did. I enjoyed it.
It was nice. Yeah, and then we ended up going to the Wedel Chocolate Factory,
Yep.
and it was a bit of a walk, I think, from the we got a tram in the end, didn't we? And that was nice. Like
Yes.
that was it. It did feel like you were going into like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory kind of territory there.
Yes, they tried to bring in things for children, but I'm not sure how effective it would have been, certainly for my granddaughter.
The whole place smelled of chocolate.
Oh, gosh, it did.
Yeah, like it just permeated everything. It was a bit sickly after a while. And then we did that with a group, and had a lovely English speaking guide, and yeah, didn't see any Oompa Loompas, but wouldn't have been surprised to see Oompa Loompas there. It did have that kind of vibe. It was a bit quirky. They had lots of weird animations where people were
It's a
talking.
much longer tour than I thought it would be, too. I think it's about an hour and a half, wasn't it?
Yes, yes, yeah, it was quite a long tour. And then,
I felt slightly discriminated against there because they were quite careful. So there was dark chocolate for each of the samples on the tour, but there was hardly anything in the shop that I could eat because I can't take milk.
yeah,
I thought that was a shame.
yeah, vegans, you're catered for, but it's more like you're tolerated
It's not
than
my
welcome.
choice.
Yeah, I know. I take those pills. Anyway, so then we had the final day, and that was our day trip. So we had Christian, who took us around, and we started off in Nadoja. No, not Nadoja. Nibiru Palace.
That was lovely. Really enjoyed that. And it made such a difference having him there because I don't think there was a single label in English. And he was very good. He actually talked to the local guides in the palace and got information that he relayed to us.
Mhm.
And he was able to tell us an awful lot. He was a very interesting person.
Oh, very knowledgeable. I mean, he was very much the kind of the archetype of Polish people who love talking about history, and you encounter them a lot. The problem I have is a lot of them they're so passionate, but they maybe don't have much English sometimes in the museums, but that hasn't stopped them. You know, they're still enthusiastic and they try to tell you as much as they can. You know, there is this core class of people in Poland that are really passionate about the history, and they try to keep it alive, and they really want outsiders to understand what happened. And I think that's something that's been lost in the UK.
I think I learned a lot from Christian, actually.
Yes, yeah, no, he was very impressive actually, and yes, so
Some things that horrified me. I hadn't realised that we were complicit in Poland coming out of the Russian aegis after the war and that sort of thing.
yeah,
Because they obviously were not happy about that.
no, I mean, I think it was more the US, but twisting our arm about it. Uh, but yeah, it's not the proudest chapter.
But it seemed wrong when we'd actually gone to war in the first place to protect Poland.
Yeah, I know. Well, to stop the Nazis, which was done. Well, until modern times, but we'll forget about that. Yes. Okay. So after that, we went to Park Arcadia Romantichna.
Yep. That was closed, wasn't it?
No, the park.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting muddled. Oh, it's Arcadia. Yes, that was absolutely beautiful. It was such a sad story because it was founded by, she was the Duchess, I think, wasn't she?
Something like that.
Who had lost her favourite daughter who died, and she created this park so that she got somewhere she could go and take solace and relax and be quiet and peaceful.
Was it daughter or?
That was what Christian said, I think.
Okay.
And it was a strange park because it had got all these rather strange buildings, some of them which were a bit crude, I thought, actually, but there was a nice idea behind it. It was like the sort of 18th century idea, wasn't it, of having a sort of perfect place with buildings from different eras scattered around it.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah. Of course, check out the video I've done on that place. It's one of the most interesting places in Poland that I've been to. It's one of those places. It's fairly small. I mean, we probably only spent an hour or so there.
I would think so, yeah.
But it's worth seeing. It's
Absolutely.
it's impressive. Then we went to Łowicz, and this is where things started to go a bit chaotic. So we went to Łowicz, and we ended up just walking a little bit around the center, then grabbing some food, and then so we weren't really given that much time to see it because we wanted to get to Mauritia or something like that. Which was this outdoor ethnographic museum, which was, you know, opening for the first time of the year, and we got there and it was closed. It was very unusual because
with a big sign on the door saying that it was closed the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but we were there on the Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah,
so it should have been open.
Should have been open. There was no one there. It was very bizarre.
But the gate was unlocked, which was weird.
I still think we should have just walked in. Paulina would have walked in. But never mind. So that was a disappointment. So we ended up.
Shame.
Yeah, we ended up going back to Łowicz, and we went to the ethnographic museum there. And I think you really, there was a lot for you to see there.
There was. Again, part of it was closed because they were doing some sort of excavations or building in the courtyard at the back, so we couldn't get to see the buildings they'd reconstructed there. But yes, it was lovely seeing all the costume and things about the folk customs. They got those wonderful ceiling decorations, hanging decorations made out of straw and wool and that type of thing, which were delightful.
Yes, yeah, it was pretty big actually. Yeah, it took a while, and it was really the kind of thing that you came to see.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, so we made it.
We've had a pretty full schedule, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're in Krakow now, and we've been around a few places, and it's been nice to come back. But this video is about more Warsaw specifically. Are there any other impressions you want to share of Warsaw? And
it was delightful to find that there was no dog mess anywhere. In England, there's an awful lot of dog mess around, but Warsaw was very clean.
Yes. Yes, it definitely stands out for cleanliness. I mean, maybe not every district is quite as clean, but there's like a pride of appearance, and It's a very common comment I get on a lot of my videos, like, "Oh wow, that place looks so clean."
And I like the Polish people.
Yes.
I've met your friend Agata, who I like very much,
Hmm.
and Christian did us really proud on that day out.
Yes, and I think the people we encountered were generally helpful.
They were.
Yeah, we had good food. I know you struggled a little bit with your diet, not being able to eat so much, but we still found some
We did.
interesting food,
Yes.
and we got very lucky with the weather.
Yes.
Incredibly lucky with the weather.
You think it was May rather than end of March,
I
beginning of April.
know, yeah, it was crazy, crazy. It was like full blown spring. I think it's the nicest spring I've seen in Poland since I moved here.
Oh, that's nice,
Yeah, so we got very lucky.
especially for me.
Yes. But yeah, of course, we didn't see everything in Warsaw. You know, there's always more. So we didn't get to the Uprising Museum. We didn't get to the Poland Museum. We didn't get to Wilanów Palace. You know, so there's stuff for the next trip.
That's good.
Yeah, and there's. I mean, the thing is,
You can't expect to see an entire capital city in a few days,
I
can you?
know. We tried though. We tried. We would have seen more if opening
Yeah, I
hours
know.
were
I
more
know.
compatible. But no, I think it was a success, and hopefully we'll get you back to Warsaw again, and we can finish off where we started. And yeah, oh, right now we're gonna enjoy the last bit of time we have for Krakow, and then yeah, back to life.
Yep.
Cool. So, guys, thank you very much for sticking with us. Hope you enjoyed the video, and do visit Poland. In the meantime, please subscribe, please like, please share, and we will see you in the next one. Do zobaczenia.
Bye.